What is up? How's it going, y'all? Synth Club. Ha! You know what, though? You know what the first rule of Synth Club is, right? Exactly, RJ. Always talk about Synth Club. All right. How are we doing? Oh, wow. I am going to log on to Canvas. And also, let me get the attendance going. Where are we? In here, documents, teaching, boop, boop, boop. Attendance. Don't save. Okay, don't start shouting your names out quite yet because I'm not there, but it's interesting to see kind of what's going on in Tony's class. Does anybody know this Jeffrey Applewhite person? Mills, some is Jeff? Yeah, I know he's in your class, but is he a person who actually goes to class? Because he hasn't been here yet. Kind of. All right. Let's see here. Daniel Aminov. Sean. Wait, Sean. Sean K. I'm going to stick that over there on the side. And we're going to get our, let me see, let me go here, log into Canvas. Nice. Get the Moog iPad up and ready. Awesome. Yeah, we'll be using the Arturia version of that. Sweet. All right, so there's that dashboard, courses, this one. Oh, we've got coronavirus. Joanna James Samuel, nice. John LaFurl. Cool. All right, let me grab a couple things real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on week 10, which is synthesis. So y'all can get in there and poke around. I'm going to download the synth basics. And let's stick it in here in the online daily notes. Yep, oh cool, okay, that one should be good. And then Modular Synths, just to make sure we're good here. I'll just grab all these real quick while I'm here, just to make sure. I'm just not sure. Some of these have, like, they look weird on a computer screen because I made them smaller, I compacted them. When are the exercises due? I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. So far, I've just been focused on teaching y'all stuff. Because the problem is, I can't, like, these exercises require that you have Logic or Ableton Live, or they require that you have Reactor, or they require that you have a computer. And so if you have that stuff, then great. But if you don't have that stuff, then I can't force you to do it. So Joanna, that part is on hold a little bit. Let me open up this. Nice. Battle beats. Cool. So these are all your original tracks? Awesome, dude. I can't wait to listen. Thanks for popping it over to me. Cool. I'm going to stick that right over here. Boop. 6 out of 14 that's supposed to drop. Cool. You can still celebrate your birthday. You just can't celebrate it with a bunch of people in public. You can celebrate it with us. What's up, everybody? Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. We can make a birthday beat for you using some synths. How about that? Should make a birthday beat for you. Cool. All right. What am I doing here? These here. Boop, 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 boop. So if you go onto Canvas, and there are some cool links in Canvas here. Over here, super basic modular synth explanation, and then Junkie XL explains modular synths. These are like YouTube videos, and then this one here is a link to a basic modular synth, which is pretty cool. Actually, this stuff here you can do whether you have a computer or not. You can just do it on your iPad. So we can start talking about some exercise things to do. But right now, I just want to focus on getting the knowledge. And this weekend, I'm going to think about how to do grades and stuff like that. So let's see. So make sure you check out the list on the right. Make sure it has your name on it. Right now, there's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people on this list. If you're in one of my classes at SAE, put your name on this list. If you're not, and you're just chilling, what's up? I'm Tony. Hi. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about modular synths and stuff like that. Louis Ventura. Yeah, what's up, dude? What's up, Louis? Ventura. Cool. what we're going to do is we're going to talk about synthesizers and the basics of synths. The other thing I need to grab off of here is the handout. This one here. This is a good one. Grab this as well. Make sure I have it on my computer. Before we talk about synthesizers, though, I just want to point out some things to you. A lot of companies right now are having sales. They're trying to keep their money coming in at this hard time. And if you do have money and you're not worried about losing your job and you can afford to do it, now's a good time to buy some plugins. So for example, I bought UltraTap today. It's a great delay/reverb unit from Eventide. It's based on their harmonizer, the H9000. And then the other one I got was, I got this one for free, the Rotary Mod, which, whatever. But then also Fission, I guess, Fission. Seems like a really cool transient designer. So I also bought that today. And we can play around with this stuff in class and take a listen to it and kind of experiment with it a little bit later today or tomorrow, or like next week or something. But yeah, there's that. And then also some other stuff that's coming in to me was, let's see here, this SynthMaster plugin, which is a great plugin, and they've got it free up on for iOS as well. Oh wow, okay, Bandcamp is waiving their share of profit. That's cool. So the money goes straight into the artist's hands without going through anybody else. That's awesome. Did I just kick that? Let's see, put that back. Go back. There you go. Oh, y'all have Fission on the computers at SAE? Weird. Yeah, and also thanks, thanks Nick. The Native Instruments is also doing Analog Dreams for free. Although when I tried to go download it, it wasn't letting me actually download it because I think everybody got the email and literally everybody's at home right now. So everybody went to the Native Instruments website. I couldn't even log in from my phone. It was really funny. So if you go get on their mailing list or whatever, you can get this Analog Dreams thing. Yeah, super overload. And they have some other free stuff, I guess. Complete Start, I guess, has some synths and sounds and stuff like that. What else? What does this say? This says, we are keeping the good vibes rolling over at the blog, pick up some new techniques, finally get your head around Absinthe, or read interviews with amazing artists. Yeah. So this stuff's all great. I mean, if you're not already like reading all the blogs and checking stuff out, then I highly recommend getting on that tip. I mean, it's how I learned so much stuff. So there's that. I also posted up a, let's see here. I also posted up a thing on my YouTube page. Not that. Recommended for me that I watch Ableton Live Introduction Part 1. Yeah, good. Thanks, YouTube. No, let's see here. Jerry, right? Jerry, yeah. So I don't think you're gonna have problems with all the companies. I think just the Native Instruments one might get a little bit weird for now, but it won't stay that weird. All right, so then also, I put up on my website here. I'll send a link to it. Boop. If y'all are interested in doing any kind of like streaming, how I'm doing, what I did was I put a video up. I made a video after class last night about how to do the streaming that I'm doing using OBS software and all the stuff. So if you want to like stream your tractor sets or DJ sets or whatever, there's this. You can follow this link, and it will take you to a YouTube video that I made on my Make Beats New York website, YouTube site. I put it up on there. It talks about all the steps on how to go through this. And you'll also notice the first beat in there is the beat that we made in class yesterday. I like that beat, actually. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and use that beat for something else. Y'all are welcome. I'm glad y'all digging it. And this is funny. I still haven't taken it out of the box yet. I am getting better at it, right? You know, practice makes perfect. I still have not taken this thing out of the box. It is still in the box. But, you know, and you know why? It's because in the evening, after talking for 4 hours, I'm so burned out. I'm just like, I can't sit in front of the computer anymore. And then what happens is in the morning when I wake up, I want to make stuff better for y'all for this online teaching thing. So the mute manager, all right, done. I'm gonna make a quick key on your computer that will mute my microphone. So you have the DDJ SB? Yeah, I was gonna get one of those. Which one do you have? The SB2 or 3? I was gonna get that one. But this one runs Rekordbox, and so I figured if I'm running Rekordbox, I don't care what software I'm using, but I figured if I'm running Rekordbox, I can make playlists in Rekordbox, and then once I get back into DJing in clubs again, once the clubs open up, I'll still have my playlists. So that's what's up. One thing I am going to do, and actually, RJ, you might like this, is I'm going to start putting together some chill ambient sets. One of the things I've been reaching out to my friends who run festivals and stuff is trying to get the idea of trying to get a chill space going again. Back in the 90s, back in the 80s and 90s when raves were a thing, not festivals, but like these raves. I come from Florida, and we had a lot of raves down in Florida, and they always had like a chill room. And so you had guys like Rabbit in the Moon with his alter ego was called Luna Soul. And he didn't really put out much music under the Luna Soul name, but he would play at these like parties and stuff. And there's always like a side room that had super chill beats. And I kind of want to bring that back. So I'm friends with a lot of people who like organize festivals and things like that. So I'm going to start reaching out to people, and I kind of want to start doing that here. So I'm going to, some of these DJ sets are going to be my, tech house and, techno stuff. And some of them are going to be more down-tempo things, and maybe even play some synthesizers and stuff on top out of Ableton Live or whatever. Oh, yeah, the SB2? Okay, cool, yeah. So that's why I opted for the DDJ 400. Where do I play in the city? I played basically everywhere. Output, when Output was a thing, Panther Room, House of Yes. I played parties for Elements, those guys. Elements, Bang On is the name of them. You have 2 CDJ 900s and a DJM 600 mixer. Anything coming up? I mean, that's kind of a loaded question right now, isn't it, Jerry? Yeah. I used to have 2 XDJ 1000s and the 750 mixer, but I sold them. I was playing at clubs more than I was having time to play at home, so I didn't really need them anymore, so I sold them. And so that's why I bought this controller here, because at this point, I'm not really sitting around. I mean, I haven't been sitting around DJing. And I know Output and Cielo, right? Yeah, I miss them too. Well, I miss Output. I miss Panther Room. I miss Panther Room free on Sundays. Okay, Kelvin, you're here. Cool. Awesome. Sweet. Thanks, Isaiah. All right, so let's get into this, shall we? So what I'm going to do here is versus the world. What up, versus the world? We're going to go in here. I'm going to close this down. Close this down. And let's go to my downloads. Hold on, let's open the downloads. I said let's open the downloads and grab these here. There we go. And then this one, I think I'm going to replace it. And this one, 36. Oh yeah, definitely need this one here. Boop. Sweet, still awesome. I want to bring my equipment into SAE for a DJ club once this quarantine is done. Club is still online. You heard. Yeah, it was. They did it yesterday, I think. You have an amp. Quick question. What's up, Cairo? What's your quick question about amps? While you're asking your question, we're going to get going with this stuff. So I'm going to open up Ableton Live real quick. Club was yesterday. Yeah, virtual meeting was during our class. So, sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to open up Ableton Live. And inside of Ableton Live, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the Mini Moog. The Mini V3. I don't need I opened it yesterday. Why are you still asking me if I need a walkthrough? All right, so I'm opening up the Mini Moog just because it's doesn't matter if it's 8 or 16 gig memory. 16 definitely. If you can go higher than 16 gigs, then go higher. You want as much memory as you can get, Cairo. You definitely want as much memory as you can get in a computer. So my Mac Mini has 32 gigs, I guess. I'm running 32 gigs on this thing. Let's see. I think it's 32 gigs. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Yeah. So these are the specs on my Mac Mini here. Processor 3.2 gigahertz Intel Core i7, 32 gigs of RAM, and whatever the process is, graphics is whatever. But yeah, you definitely want to go as high as possible because more RAM will help out with everything across the board. So go as high as possible on that. Alrighty then, so here's this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this as big as possible. Let's resize the window to 100%. Let's make it bigger. 120. Oh yeah. Sweet. Is that big enough for y'all? I feel like maybe it is. And let's see what we got. Let's see. I don't know what we're actually controlling in here. Nothing? Okay, oh, there's that. There's that. There's that. Okay. So we got some volume levels, noise volume level. And a few of these are, sustain level. Okay. That should be then decay, but it's not. That's attack, decay, sustain, and amount of contour. Okay. Wow, that's weird to have that over there. All right. So, Jerry, I'm not sure that's what I was saying. I cannot condone that message. All right. So let's take a little stroll through history on synthesis real quick. So in the beginning, the first synthesizer was a theremin. Not really a synthesizer, but it was the first instrument that was electronic and playable, like an actual musical instrument. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, I'm going to set my sound output to go into Soundflower so I can play you this video on YouTube. And I want to show you all a theremin. Theremin. I have played a theremin. I'm horrible at it. They're really hard to play. Ghost noises, yeah. Let's hear it. Let's see if this will make noise for us. Nope. Why am I not hearing it? Oh. Not hearing it. Hold on a second. Oh wait, I know why. Are y'all hearing it? Y'all are not hearing it either. Let's see. Whoops. Let's see if I can get this working. I'm gonna say no. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna worry about it right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna post it here and y'all can listen to it yourselves. That's what I'm gonna do and you can check it out. But I just wanna point out this dude right here, this guy, is playing a theremin. That's a theremin. And when you watch the video, you can see he's playing it with his hands in the air, which is pretty cool. All right, so the theremin is like that. You play it with your hands in the air, put your hands up in the air, right? Put your hands up in the air. That's a theremin, okay? And the thing is with the theremin, that was the first instrument that was like completely electronic that was playable. And that was like introduced, what was like in the 1920s or something like that. Theremins are super cool. You run them through some effects, like Agent Orange said, ghost noises. Sounds like spooky movies. Woo, right? But if you also listen to the Beach Boys' Good Vibrations, that has a theremin in it as well. Although if you watch a video of them playing that song live, they don't use a theremin in the video. They actually use some kind of little keyboard thing. It's like got a woo, woo, like that. It's got like a little keyboard on it that you can play. And it sounded kind of like a theremin, but it was much easier to play. But the recording actually is a theremin. So that's a theremin. That's the first thing. And this kid in high school who was Mike Love played a Ondas Martineau style. Okay, cool, nice. So there was a kid who started making theremins out of his garage when he was in high school, and his name was Robert Moog. And he started making theremins when he was like 12 or 13 years old. And he was selling them out of his garage in North Carolina. And eventually he started making his own instruments. And this dude became super, super famous. Moog Synths. For making Moog synthesizers. I mean, his name is Bob Moog. And you know, he started off making theremins. And he started to make, his own oscillator, his own filter, and then his own synthesizers. The first synths that he made were these giant beast synthesizers. Here, let's see if I can make this bigger. This picture, I want to make it a bigger picture, yeah, boom. There we go. So you can see that there. These are giant analog synthesizers, and it's a modular synth. And what does that mean? That means, modular synth means basically that it's, let's see. Yeah, look at that here. Let's go to, oh, there we go. That's a much better picture. Boom. Can I click on it? Yeah, well, it doesn't really make it bigger if I, there we go. I can zoom in on this though. Yeah, it's like puzzle pieces. So essentially what happens is this. All of these are their own individual modules, hence the word modular. So what you could do is you could start off with like a couple of modulars. Yeah, Keith Emerson's Moog Monster. So you could start off with a couple of modules and you can add on to them. So you can say, oh, I want another oscillator, I want another filter, I want another this, I want another that, another that. Okay, yep. And what you would do is you would patch them together and you could build these up and build these up. And that's what was really cool about them. What's not cool about them is that first of all, back in the 60s, these things were so fragile that if you looked at them wrong, or if you breathed on them wrong, or if somebody's like standing, 20 feet away, coronavirus style, and was like, I'm gonna touch you, they would break. Like immediately broken machine. They'd go out of tune all the time because the parts that they were using to make these things were very, very fragile. So trying to tour with these was just basically not impossible, but really, really difficult. The cool part was that you could add into them. The not cool part was that the upkeep was super, super hard. So eventually, temperature, everything affects it. They're basically like a acoustic instrument almost, except they were electronic. So then what happened was, I don't know who it was, I don't remember the name of the person, but somebody approached Bob Moog and said, hey, I want to take this on the road easier. Right now I've been playing it and I've got all the cables and stuff and everything's connected up and it's a super big pain to do it. But I don't think it was Wendy Carlos. I think it was maybe Emerson. But I'm not sure about that. I don't want to say 100% who it was, but it wasn't Wendy Carlos. But the person came to him and said, "Hey, I want you to make a smaller version of this." So Bob Moog was like, "I think it was Keith. Yeah, I think you're right." So the person, and so Bob Moog was like, "Yeah, sure, okay, let me see what I can do." And he made the Moog Minimo, and eventually this became the Model D. The Minimo Model D, this one here. Sound on sound. Let's click on this. Let's see if we can get a bigger picture of this. Oh, they're so beautiful. Yes. Yeah. So this is the Model D. And if you look at this, there's, oh, it's so sexy, right? And you said you have the subsequent 37. I have the sub 37. You have the matriarch as well, Agent Orange. That's dope. Yeah, it's some really cool. That's cool. There's a lot of like analog synth nerds in the class. I like it. Magnolia Neil. Okay, hold on a second. Let me put you in. There we go. Cool. All right. So there's not a whole lot going on here on the surface, but you can do a lot with this machine, surprisingly. But the cool thing about it was that there's no cables that you had to patch. It had 3 oscillators. You could get a lot out of it, but you could also take it with you. And what would happen is this top part here would fold down like boop, and then it had a case that would go on it, so you could take it like a suitcase around with you. Of course, it was still made with 60s materials, so, and they're not particularly small. It's not, the keys are full-sized keys, but and they would still, so it'd still go out of tune and stuff like that, but it was a lot easier than taking around the giant modular synth. So this was arguably the very first kind of modern day synthesizer that was ever made, that was like electronic and everything was all in one box. Now, before we continue talking about these kinds of synthesizers, I just want to pull back and say something about the West Coast, because Bob Moog is on the right coast, on the East Coast, and then there is another dude called Buchla on the left coast. And there we go, Buchla. Let me spell that correctly. And Buchla's synthesizers were very different from Moog's synthesizers. So they had a very different philosophy about how what synthesizers should be about. And Bob Moog was like that synthesizers should be played by musicians. So his synthesizers had keyboards, and they all had keyboards, and they were playable by musicians. So if you played keyboard, you could just walk right up to a Moog synth and play it immediately. But Buchla was like, well, I don't think that we should just keep reinventing the wheel. Why should we make something that's just the same as it's always been? I want to make something that's really weird and different and make strange sounds and really utilize the technology for doing different stuff. So his synthesizers, for the most part, didn't actually have a normal keyboard the way we think of them these days. So here, let me just see if there's any pictures of his. Yeah, so you can see here's an old picture of an old Buchla, and this part right here is the input device. This is probably some kind of a sequencer. It looks like looks like sequencers, but this here would be like a piece of metal that you could touch and slide up and down, slide your finger on it to control the sound in different ways. Yeah, you can see it like down here on the bottom. See, it's not like a normal keyboard like what we're used to looking at today, or like what people were used to. It's something designed for a different input, so you get different types of play out of it. Because of this, yeah, you can see here's some old ones as well, and these really cool. If you look down here on this side, you can see this input device, and it's kind of shaped like a piano keyboard, but it's flat and it's metal, and you can slide your fingers around on it. And I totally agree with you, Agent Orange. These are crazy looking. Yep, really, really cool. Yeah, the music easel. Yeah, that one's super cool. I think they still make these. I'm pretty sure Buchla still makes these. But the result of all this was that Moog synths got really, really famous and super popular, and a lot of people knew about Moog synths, and then not that many people knew about Buchla synths. So Buchla has become more widely known in the past, let's say, 10 to 15 years, especially as Eurorack specifications have gotten popular. But yeah, kind of the early forms of touchscreen, exactly. So Buchla is now getting more and more popular, but they actually started making synthesizers around the same time, but most people just don't know as much about Buchla. So that's a little bit of the history there. Now, of course, there are other companies that started making analog synthesizers. The first, as I just mentioned, was Moog, and the first like portable modern synth was really this Moog Model D. But he wasn't the only one. There's other companies like Roland was making them, and Korg was making them. Yamaha, Yamaha was more pianos. ARP, some other companies off the top of my head. Of course, Sequential Circuits. Feel free to chime in who I'm missing. Prophet. Well, that's Sequential Circuits is Prophet. And that's Dave Smith. And then OB6. Oberheim. Oberheim's another company. So there's lots of companies that are making really cool synthesizers. AKS. AKS? I don't know AKS. Oh. Oh yeah, this one. Ooh, Behringer made a clone? What? Interesting. Huh. Yeah, these are super cool. These are super weird, right? This is the one they used in Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, neat. Yeah, super cool. So, yeah, On the Run, there you go. RJ, do you have the Arturia stuff? Because if not, I mean, you really need to get the Arturia stuff. Here, let me go up to my audio units. Arturia stuff has all this stuff. Where is it? Oh, nice. Yeah, it's dope. Yeah, isn't this one? Yep, there you go. Yeah. Oh, the Mini Brute 2S? Yeah, the Mini Brute 2S is dope. Steven Delgado. Hold on, let me put you in. You're in Todd's class, right, Steven? Oh, you have the ARP 2600 V3. Oh, from Arturia? Or are you talking about hardware from Korg? Oh, okay. The VST. Yeah. But I mean, one thing y'all need to make sure that you keep on top of, especially since there seems to be a lot of analog synth nerds here, is all this stuff is being made by modern companies. So, for example, there's a Korg ARP. They're making them again, and they're not that expensive. They've got the here, you can get them for like, no, here. This one's used for $479. All right, $49 used. You can get some really cool ones that are like hardware if you want to get into this stuff. So there's that. Behringer's making some cool synths. And I used to have the Behringer Model D, and they're actually fantastic. Ooh, they have a Poly D? Wow, that's so funny. But see these prices on these? I mean, the Behringer TD3 baseline for $149. So cheap. That's an incredible price. TD3 yellow. Ooh, you can get it for yellow, right? Yeah, this stuff is good. I mean, I had the I actually had the Model D here. It's like $300, and they sound good, and they work. They sound, you know, I mean, that's all you need is for them to sound pretty good. Let's see here. I'm gonna let the ambulance go by before I keep talking. Yeah, super, super cool stuff. Pro One, tabletop. Nice. Yep, so, whoops. Yeah, some cool stuff here. You know, so, I mean, and they stay in tune. Like, I gave mine to my music partner for his birthday because I wasn't using it as much anymore, and also giving it to him for his birthday is keeping it in the family anyway, so I can just borrow it back if I need to. But this is cool. I got a polyphonic Model D. That's neat. 4-voice polyphony and presets and a sequencer. Nice. Does it have presets? Maybe not. Yeah. It looks tiny though. That's funny. All right. Anyway, so there's a little history lesson. So what was happening was that they were making all these different synthesizers, all these really cool synths and stuff. And then in the 80s, digital hit. So we got digital, and then from digital went into the Yamaha D7, DX7. And this is like the first like cheap mass-produced digital synth was the Yamaha DX7. It looks like this. Super hard to actually program on. The only one who was, hold on. Okay, so the only one who was actually programming on one very much was Brian Eno. He programmed on one a lot, but he actually cheated. And he had Brian Eno controller. He had this thing made for him. Where is it? There it is. And I think this is the one. It's something like this anyway. That had all these like buttons and things for it, knobs, so that he could program on it, which is pretty cool. But like very few people actually were programming very much for the DX7. But it was the first one that that was like mass produced. It was the first kind of digital synth, and then from there you had companies like Korg made their the M1, and the T3, and then the Korg Triton, the Korg Trinity, and then the Triton, and everything became digital. So in the 80s, everything went digital, and the analog thing fell off for a while. But what's happened is nowadays, in the last like 10 years, let's say 15 years, analog gear has gotten cheaper because the technology, the stuff to make the gear has dropped in price. So now you've got all these really cool synthesizers that are like, as you just saw, some of these starting for $150, and and they go up from there. So you can spend anywhere from like $200 up to like $4,000, $5,000 for synthesizers, or more if you want. But we live in it's a really cool time to be into this stuff now, because you can still get that analog sound without spending crazy amounts of money. But if you want to get something that's really like beautiful and feels like a real solid instrument, then you can spend like $1,000 or something and get like a Moog, like a sub 37 or a subsequent 37 or something like that. Those are like $1,400. So there's a lot of options out there for synthesizers. We're gonna take a break in a couple minutes, but before we take a break, what I want to talk about real quick is I just want to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing in this class. My goal is to make it so that you know the basics of synthesis and sound design, so that when you sit down in front of a synthesizer, you basically it's going to be demystified. So if you look at Massive, for example, or you look at the mini Moog here, they're both of them. You'll know what you're doing a little bit with them. Obviously, to become an expert with any synthesizer, you're gonna have to really dig in and work with that synthesizer a lot. But you should, after following along with me these next few days, you should be able to sit down with any of them and at least get started. And my idea, the way most people I know, the way they work, and the goal of mine, the level I want to get you to, is where you can sit down and you can dig through some presets and you can say, oh, okay, I want it to sound a little bit more like this or like that. Like, I like the preset, but I want it to sound a little bit different. So, for example, I have this here. What is going on? I'm not hearing anything. I'm wondering what did I do? Okay, well, it looks like we're at a good place for taking a break, because it looks like I need to restart some stuff. What? But basically, I want to make it so that if you have a sound that's like almost perfect, then keyboard button on top, that you can make it perfect. No, I'm getting signal out of Ableton Live. I'm not getting signal into OBS for some reason. I'm not sure. Oh, this keyboard, you're talking about this keyboard button up here in the corner? No, that's not it. That doesn't need to be on. All right, so what do you say, Agent Orange? One thing I haven't figured out how to do is sync my analog synth step sequencers with my DAW's BPM. Okay, we can talk about that. Let's take a 10-minute break while I restart some stuff and make sure everything's cool, and then we will... I know why. Hold on a second. Maybe when I changed this here. Nope. Still not getting it into OBS. Okay, anyway, I got to restart. I'll be back in 10 minutes, y'all.